Awesome intro. Thank you. Thank you for the intro. I had to go around that intro a little longer. Definitely appreciate the our listener who sent that to me. And don't worry, I have it in my editing aspect of it, but it's awesome. Let me see with this light, this background. Maybe I need to turn out the light above. Besides that, seems like it's a little bit of a background situation here. Be right back. Just gotta flip the switch. See if this is any better. See if this is any better. Yeah, it appears to be better. Yeah. All right. I won't Matthew McConaughey it today, right? Man, me and Ryan, all right. It's definitely in me. But anyways, there's the other word, man, that awareness. But I'm glad to be here with you guys. I appreciate everybody in this space that comes here. And thank all my new listeners. I just got a new listener that I just seen pop up on my thing on my YouTube, and I followed you back. Subscriber. Your name's Steph. I know that. I know your first name's Steph. Stef. And definitely thank you for subscribing. Yes, definitely seeing where you're from. Definitely know Secret Energy and Seven, and definitely know some of the people there and have been part of that in the past. So, and definitely love what he brings in that community, because we're just trying to create a oneness and a unity here, right? And in a space, and we've really been hammering these Gnostic gospels. And I tried to get away, and some of my listeners don't want me to get away. So I'm not. We went through 5 and 6 of Sophia. Gonna take a break because there is some left of that. We're good 2/3 to 75% done with that. I had that fourth, that definitely that one episode. Just I was revelating and seeing so much in it, and then going over some of the other stuff. How the prayers of the 7 prayers of repentance of Sophia, and how they were used in that. And then I started looking at that and I go, the 7-fold repentance of Sophia is at the 7 realms of the lower realms of the lowest realms, because the 8th is the change, right? Starts to be some unity in the story. But I stopped the anyways before it came. Really looking on these habits, right? Just being mindful, being really mindful of myself. None of us are perfect. All of us make mistakes. We're always looking for being aware that sometimes things are not always perfect in our lives and with other people, and certain things come up, and learning so much from this, and so much is connecting. And I really appreciate and really kind of lets me see how we really dealt with the feminine aspect of things the last so many millenniums, and how when it gets into the other side and the end of the story, why we see things the way we do. And I just keep looking at it. I go, this makes sense. God dang, the Gnostics were talking about simulation theory 2 millenniums ago. And that's kind of what we're going to talk to about it. We are going to get into the Sophia Jesus Christ, the next video. I have some kind of some of the stuff that I found out about Gnosticism, mindset, some of the mindset thoughts, some of the teachings that I have that are very interesting that I'm going to share. I got them up here, going to share the screen. This is going to kind of be going into some certain aspects of things they called it, like they call the highest place of the oneness and unity of that which is nameless, that which is unapproachable, in a space that's way above this earth, in the reality of this earth, the pleroma, a place of oneness and unity where true source abides, that's nameless, has a name, doesn't have a name. It's nameless. It's beyond reproach. And then I started looking at this and I go, man, a lot of the gods that we've been dealt with in stories, ancient stories, even from the gods are actually mischievous and cause a lot of the mess here. And I started looking at that and I go, they do. They're not speaking of a place of unity and oneness and wholeness, of divine, where we come from, our divinity comes from. And I love the fragmentation of the wholeness of what happened in the experiment of Sophia. I'm going to call it experiment, as she went into the 7th realm and lower, and then the emanations of what she created without the stages of that which was above, and then that would create the physical world, and we would see Yado-Baoth, who then becomes the creator of the physical world. And then we kind of see that, and then I'm kind of looking at him and go, man, this very thing that he is what most of the world has been told what God is. Let's be honest. It's all everything that Yadabaoth is in the story is what we see from the Abrahamic faiths. And what do you see from the Jews? Don't like the Muslims, the Christians. None of them have anything in common, but they're supposed to be from this one place, from the Abrahamic faith, right? From Father Abraham. But I know Abraham is just a word that you add a in front of Brahmin, which now we're talking about an older society, which is Hinduism, the Brahmins, and you add a in front of Brahmin, which precedes the Abrahamic faiths, and now Brahman becomes Abraham. Swati becomes Sarah, and on it goes down the emanations of what we're doing. And then some of the things I'm in. I'm going to share in a little bit. I'm in because this is I'm going to be talking today. This is the day where I'm going to share. I used to call it off the cuff. I haven't did it off the cuff in a while. This is kind of an off the cuff, but we're going to get into something specific. We're going to get into something that's kind of going to blow your mind. I think some of you knowers, and some may know. I must be honest. Some of you guys might not know. I've really been for like about 2.5, going on 3 months, diving deep into Gnosticism. I've said before, I'm surprised I didn't know this in 93. It would have fit when I came out of the Christian church, but I ended up in Christian esoterica, even though they didn't call it that. They called it just a kingdom message. And a bunch of men and women that were in their 60s when I was in my early 30s adopted me in, took me in, and nourished me within their confines, which came where they were out of the church, but still we used a building. Actually, we didn't run our services in the main service that I came from. We actually had they were teaching at that time. You were beyond the fivefold ministry. This was 1993. So we don't have a pastor. Anybody that comes speaks, has a song, has a psalm, they use the scripture, has a prophecy, be led by the Spirit, then come up and speak, and nobody will appoint you. Of course, we'd had a couple of good leaders they would lead in song, and sometimes he would say, "I'm being led. You come up, Danny," or "You come up, Scott," or whomever the speakers were at this time. Very advanced for its time, but nobody used the Gnostic Gospels, and they were available since when did they were found in 45. They were published in the 70s, I believe, so they were around. And I'm even surprised I didn't deep dive in this when I started deep diving in other aspects, Buddhism and stuff, in 2012 when I had my next awakening and had to lead that message. But anyways, what I'm seeing is the tie-in with the simulation, even the PCNs, a lot of talk of that. Even some of this carries over to philosophy and even to science when you start connecting with the simulation theory that is really popular in science now, that nothing's solid, not even this. It appears solid in the densest of places, but really it's energy, this table that I just knocked on 3 times in the ceiling if you want me, right? Old song. I just threw a little one of my dry humorous jokes. But anyways, and I started looking at that, and I said, things make sense when I start looking at this reality, because there's no unity ever in the reality outside of us. Many of us can come together, eat a meal, hang out, do all these different things together, and we're in unity together because we're even in this space. But somebody can come in. I had a nasty message sent to me here last week, and the key is not to react. Because I'm not here in the space. We're looking for unity and oneness. I'm not here to argue with anybody or have debates with anybody. Anybody comes in and they're not open-minded. They're here just to say some stuff or do some stuff. It might even have been a clip, not necessarily in the full video like this. But what I was thinking about was I just removed them, because I am not going to play with people doing that. I'm not going to play here. You're either here because you want to learn in oneness. There's no time for debate. There's no reason for esoteric to debate an exoteric. That's like it's like a kindergartner debating a high school with geometry. It's just not going to happen. If you're still in esoteric knowledge and you want your indoctrination, there's plenty of places that will give it to you. But them who are waking up out of that, this is where the state where you're at, because you're in your degrees. Might not be where you're at. Anybody that are just learning, but you're open to this, I said, hit me up. I definitely am open for counseling. I'm a counselor by trade. That's what I did for many years, whether it was spiritual in the esoteric churches I used to do, and I worked in mental health. I mean, retired from that. So any type of that I am open to and can do spiritually and some physical in life, and give good advice and have great recommendations that I found out in my life. You can give some great advice, but unless somebody takes it, you cannot force somebody to do something they're not willing to do on their own. But what I was noticing is we've talking about NPC, non-player characters, movies, The Matrix. Don't look at them, those agents, right? And then we see nothing but in this reality agencies. They're agents connected to what? A system. I'm seeing how in the story the archons, which are like parasites, thought mind parasites, have this agencies and systems and governments working and banking systems and all this stuff, and that's their infiltration. It just makes no sense, because when you break down these things and knowledge that and know, when you know, you for anywhere from the bank connection to the birth certificate to the ship and the court with the watery gate when you go into the courtroom, how the judge is lifted up just like the priest is. Come on now, this stuff goes hand in hand. When you know this, when you don't know it, it's hidden by the archons, because they love to keep you ignorant and then siphon your ignorance. So it's like having a virus, whether it's in your mind or in your body. It's a spiritual mind, mental virus. What happened? You're doing, we keep just rebooting. We keep just drudgery keeps going on and just looping and looping and looping and looping. And I even thought about this word the other day. Have you ever heard about the word that they used to say a lot when two younger people would be in love and they would say, we're going to get married, and they would say, we would elope. And I thought about it the other day when I was driving home from somewhere, and I hit the stop sign and I said, elope. Does that mean really elope? About looping? That the word elope has something to do with the loop? And these are the kind of things that start coming to you, and you start decoding this reality, and you start not really being a fixture of this reality, because the archons and all that, you start doing things differently. You start moving differently. You start, like the story with Noria, and that's another book. You guys, the rulers, you got to watch that video. It doesn't have the watches Sophia has. You got to watch it. That's about Noria, because Elith empowers the law to her. What happened? The power that they don't have over Noria, because she's not from their realm. She's untouchable. And when you look in the story, they tried to burn this. They did not want this book found, because it's only one, and it was found at Nag Hammadi. So anyways, yeah, all this Gnostic gospel's been dynamic. The connection of it, the connection I was seeing and going through, and I go, oh, there's alchemy. I was going through Pistis Soviet. I go, oh, this is alchemical stuff they're talking about. This is hermetic principles in here. All these things are one within us, because they're coming in layered in truth from the higher pleroma. This makes so much sense to me. And then also these scriptures that we're calling Gnostic, and I know using the so-called Bible that's used, the canonized versions that are from Rome. Come on now. From Rome. Come on now. You know what that means. But I see all kind of Gnostic stuff in that. It's just that the people are blind and ignorant to it because of the indoctrination it's pushed. When Jesus always was really good with people. Love. Turn the other cheek. Not an eye for an eye. Not warfare, is what he's saying. Turn the other cheek means change your mindset. Go to the other side. And then in this gospel, you see he was telling him on this part of the Pistis of Sophia, turn 6 months to the right and 6 months to the left. Meaning get the whole thing, not be just one-sided, not just be a Republican and Democrat. See it deeper. See it deeper. So you said, what are you saying? I'm saying that, but with the religious sect, the court sect, publicans, right? Tax collectors, the lawyers, he said, woe unto. And then the religious bunch, and guess who the religious bunch is? I know you know what I'm saying. He was harsh with them. And then think about it. He even would tell them, you're of your father, the devil. Well, ooh, 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 meaning your father's not my father. But in the indoctrination, it's making it is. But in these stories, when you start lining up, it's not. He said, I ain't about you, and I ain't from you. Your father is the devil. And what is he saying in the night? He's really saying Yadabeth, the demiurge. As we know, it does the same things as the Waya. Reverse that, you'll know what I'm meaning. So I'm going to share something that was kind of a teaching that they have and used. And it's very interesting to me when you start looking at this, because this is some stages, some different things. And I think I can use this. I don't need the right side without me having to put this up. So Gnostics. And there's some categories that they're going to use. And one of the is the pneumatics. And the pneumatics refers to the highest order of humans, characterized by their spiritual nature and ability to attain gnosis, spiritual knowledge. And I'm telling you, this makes sense to me because I know what it is. This is the ability to know things without being taught them or not getting it from a book like you would be taught in school. This is having an unknowing connection you have from the highest realm of your divinity, or that spark, that divine spark that's in you through the fall of you falling and manifesting in this flesh, in this order. And these are called the pneumatics, or the pneumatics, right here with the PN. The pneumatics refer to the highest order of humans' ability to attain spiritual knowledge from within, because you're connected. They're believed to be the higher spiritual essence compared to the hylics, material beings. Material beings with them that only look at material wealth, material life, and really are stuck in the material world. I remember a song at one time that used to be a really song by the Police called "We Are Spirits in the Material World" back in, I believe, the 80s, maybe late 70s when this first came out. We are spirits in the material world. They are called the hylics. The psychics are soulful beings. The pneumatics are seen as capable of escaping the material world and achieving enlightenment through a spiritual understanding, meaning your gnosis is going to save you, not the blood, not faith, because what's above faith and belief is knowing, right? I mean, I've known this for years, and used to say this all the time. What's greater than believing? In the indoctrinations about believe on Jesus, believe. That's the Roman version, or some bunch of works that you do. The Gnostics did not buy that. They said that what changed you and gave you the ability to get out of this trap, because they looked at this place as a trap, because the recycling and reincarnation over and over and over in not remembering who you are was connected to the demiurge. And the reality of that, when you see what we see here with not changing, it makes sense to me why people would call this a prison planet. But they wouldn't say it's fully prison, even though it can be, they've said it, but they would say the ones who have the ability to get out would be them who would do it through their spiritual understanding, their enlightenment through gnosis. The three categories of humans. Gnostics also divide humanity in three: the pneumatics, the psychics, and the psychics actually represent, it could have psychic abilities, but it's really talking about them who are stuck in just psyche, just mind, just the psyche part of it. The psyche part has a connection, but it's not the third level of into gnosis, right? Where and he goes, and the hylics, which are them, are the pneumatics are considered to be of a higher spiritual essence, closer to the spiritual realm, capable of transcending the limitations of the material world. They are believed to possess the capacity to attain gnosis, revelation knowledge, when you get spoken to straight within your intuition, some of the aspects that you have, even psychic abilities, clairvoyance, sentience, and all these connections that you have, when you may feel something and you didn't get it through a book or nobody told you, which is different than the other side of your brain, which is all logic, right? Logic is a process. This is not a process, Attain gnosis, the spiritual knowledge that allows them to understand the true nature of the reality and the place within it. The pneumatics are seen striving to escape the cycle of reincarnation. And this is what the Buddha says, and this is what even was what they talked about in even Hinduism about Maya. Maya means illusion. This is an illusionary place. It's illusionary, and you get caught in the war of illusion, because in this is where you always see there's wars going on, there's strife, there's envy. And if you go like read some of the books, I even have the book about with Hinduism and Buddhism about the wars of about some of the wars that they talk about having these aspects of these wars. I'm forgetting the name of the book now that I have, but this is in there too. These ancient texts would tell you these things. And that's what I started seeing and putting together, that they all saying the same thing about something scientists are just finding out now is, do we just limit is this a simulation? This is not, this is really vibration, but because we're such density in matter, it appears solid to us, but it's not really solid. It's energetic vibration. Transcendence. Pneumatics are seen to striving to escape the cycle of reincarnation, achieve reunion with the divine source through their spiritual understanding and their pursuit of gnosis. The pneumatic, spiritual, from the Greek spirit, where in Gnosticism are the highest orders of humans. The other two orders are being psychics and hylics, which are matter. This makes sense to me, because through this process, this is the same as the alchemical journey. It is. And even Hermeticism is the pneumatics were them that are able to obtain the highest state. And let's be honest, there's some people who will get there, if not there. There's some people who wake up to it. It's not like they're not. But what I'm seeing when you start getting into some of the things that we're seeing now, what we call PCNs, we're seeing that you could actually, when you tell somebody the truth, and then they find out that you told them the truth about what's going, the ones who are really to blame for some of the stuff going on recently, or for years, decades, centuries, millenniums, to be honest, they get actually mad at you when you're the one telling the truth and not the one who did it. This starts to be kind of the deeper aspects of that people are under the spell. They maybe, I'm going to say this, are we dealing with soulless ones? Think about it. Just something to ponder. They're easily led. They don't think outside the box. They're followers, and they don't have any gnosis, and they don't have any, they're always in cognitive dissonance. They just take orders, almost like a PCN or a computer or an AI. And whatever's said to them, that's all they do, and they don't have any critical thinking at all. You guys have known it, experienced it, seen it. I know you have. So here, Gnosticism belief system emphasize esoteric knowledge, the terms, right? I think you guys see this, right? This one. I hope you guys see this one. Do I need to go out and stop sharing and come back in, because I don't see it here? Let me see. Let me go outside this. Let me stop sharing and let me stop the share. Go back here. Or are we at 26 minutes? Let's reshare. I just want to make sure you guys seen. I could see it, and I just wanted to make sure you guys seen it, because you guys may have seen it. I might have been cool as other side of the pillow, but I just want to make sure you guys were seeing what I was seeing. I have not used two types of things. Okay. So in Gnosticism, we talked about belief systems emphasizing esoteric knowledge. We found out esoteric knowledge holds the truth. Anything that's exoteric, it's hidden from us. And we're believing that, which, when you look at the beginning of exoteric knowledge, which somebody found deemable for the masses. Who made that decision? I've said many times. Who made the decision? What is exoteric for you and I and many people in the world, the masses, to listen to us? When you go into etymology, the word is, they deemed it okay for the masses. Who made that decision? Who made that decision? Okay. So, and they didn't want you to know the exoteric knowledge and wake up and take your energy, because these archons are vampires. They're they're, just be honest, from a lower level, wanting to suck your life force. That's why they want to keep everybody in dismay, negativity, arguments. I mean, we have nothing but division on every level, from sports to politics to entertainment to government, every aspect, from feminine and masculine, from people just everywhere, is just a bunch of division, just a bunch. just nothing but division. Different types of souls, individuals based on their receptivity to truth and their spiritual journey. So this is a receptivity. They were in a place to receive direct gnosis or knowledge through esoteric knowledges, emphasizing the terms, this knowledge. And you can see the psychic, the hylic. The pneumatic is the highest level, representing full 3 initiated, those fully initiated and spiritually advanced, while the psychic is partially initiated, and the hylic is just bound by the material world. Everything's material, and physical. Nothing outside that box. Pneumatic, spiritual of the spirit, from the Greek word pneuma. Pneumatics are the most advanced, having achieved the highest level of spiritual enlightenment, escaping the material world through gnosis, divine knowledge, and they are seen as fully initiated and connected to divine. And I'm sure these groups that were around at one time were having initiations where they were, but they didn't believe in going to buildings and having church and having a high order. It was spirit led completely, not what we know as church from 325 AD to the Catholicism, and then even into what we see later into Protestantism, having buildings and having hierarchy, and everything comes from them. And when they, and just on and on and on. Many of you came out of that, no, right? They are seen as having a soul that is not fully connected to the spiritual realm. So really the second part of this, them that are the psychics, have some understanding, have some partial. They are seen as having a soul, but they're not fully connected to the spiritual realm. So they're kind of in a different degree of understanding, not in the degree of fully initiated. This would even represent when I see the 3 aspects: outer, inner court, holy of holies, outer court, and or holy of holies. What is it? Holy of holies, inner court, outside of matter or material. Hylics are the lowest level, bound by material world, not yet aware of spiritual realm. They are seen as being primarily concerned with physical and earthly aspects of existence. These terms were used to categorize individuals based on their potential for spiritual growth, the understanding of the Gnostic worldview, which will often emphasize the inherent goodness from the spiritual realm and the imperfection of the material world. The pneumatic, spiritual from the Greek pneuma, and were the Gnosticism's highest order of the humans. The other 2 orders have been of psychics, right, initiated, and hylics, just physical matter. Very interesting. I find this very, very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. And what I was putting it is more and more as we see, and more as people don't care. And then we had movies like The Matrix, where people were really just under the gun. And we can see that many of the people that are in sports, Hollywood, politics, they'll hurt people there's no empathy. One of the biggest things, and this is really where I was looking at this as being the NPCs are even soulless. I'm going to be honest, not having souls. When you don't feel any empathy for people and their hurt. So I really started looking at this world and some of the things that goes on in a deeper way, like the empathy. When I see that you can attack a certain place because you are who you are, because you're so-called, and you can go ahead and bomb children, old people, women, man, it don't matter who you are, just bomb them, berate them, and just slam them, and it's okay because you're the righteous one and you're the chosen one. Sorry, that's a lack of empathy. And then anybody that disagrees with them, guess what? They start getting called names or be called this word, this almost this certain word. You know what I'm talking about, of being that. But the people who's getting berated are the same thing. If you know what I mean, catch my drift. Yeah. And this isn't just there, it's everywhere. We got people, just living, in your streets near you, depending where you're at. Could be any of the smallest streets. You'll see people homeless, just living there, living with bags, dirty, and you're just like, man, this reality just seems not to bring a unity in what's best for humanity. So more and more the Gnostic gospel makes sense about this place. And then I think about it even with this when I was reading this more and more, because the Gnostic gospel doesn't hold back that you have to find revelation and sort through a pan in a bale of hay, and hopefully you find the little bit of truth in it. The Gnostic Gospels are just charaded with esoteric knowledge. It's like the buffet of esoteric knowledge, holding nothing back. Holding nothing back. Or when I read the Gospels or any of this other, the Bible given to us as being the canonized version, you have to have a keen eye of knowledge to see that, because there's a lot of fluff in it. Like when you get your Amazon box and you go, oh, there's a paper, there's these air pockets in there with, the plastic that you could pop, and then the gift's that big. That's like getting the knowledge that big, but the box is this big. Same thing, but the Gnostic gospel is not like that. It's shredded with esoteric goodness. It is, really is. But I see alchemy. For me, I'm seeing alchemy, hermeticism, and this are like the three-headed, even though they connect. They do. It explains a lot why we see what we're like. I mean, I've been really kind of going on a year and 3/4 of a years, more and more seeing the simulation aspect of this place, seeing how it operates, and then fitting this in makes sense. And seeing how this was ran makes sense. Seeing that how we're treated, how people are treated, think about it, how anybody could do you know that Utah is going to be the first state that's going to take fluoride out of the water here soon? Why is it even in there? By them supposedly looking out the best for you? Sounds a little bit like what I've been reading recently of what really this place is. Or when I look up in the air and I see tic-tac-toe all the time and think this is a normal sky. Really? Then what I see that people, that's even out now, let's just be honest, it's out everywhere, about the jib-jab. Countries are admitting it now. Actually, one of the pharmaceutical companies took it off and said, admitted, it causes this and that. It's being admitted. It's everywhere. What about the disclosure coming from the system? What is this leading to? Some things are happening fast in the spiritual realm, but also in the physical outside of us. I'm telling you, things that were seemed okay, tolerable in certain areas. I'll even use this. I used to be a sports guy. I woke up a while ago that it was phony. Yeah, these games ain't real. They're rigged. They use a code called gematria to do it. I learned that from people who teach gematria, who freaking bet on them and show them every day. Even showed the codes during that 20 to 21 and how certain words were the same words and same numbers, like toilet paper. Yeah. Yeah, were the same words as the vid. Yeah, same numerical values. But anyways, it's all out. Now, some people won't receive it because it's coming from the certain people they don't believe in politically. I don't believe in the other side, but what I know is truth, because some of the stuff I knew before it happened, just being honest. But it's all out there. But why would somebody do it and tell you they love you and then you support them while they continue? I mean, Asia's food's better. Europe's food's better than ours. Now it's all coming out, not just the recent vaccines, that the ones that we had as child and the ones these children have been having now for the last 30 years, which is way more than we got, have this stuff in it. I mean, this is coming out to the full man. And these are the people in the place that govern you that's supposed to love you. The Gnostic gospels make sense. The demiurge makes sense to me. Land, because it even tells you in the books they set up governments. I'm telling you, I knew by what they do, but not only that, when I see the word government in etymology, government. The word government means control. The word ment means mental. They're mind control. That's all they do. Here's another one. When you go back into the very Sumerian Gospels with Enlil and Enki, the Garden of Eden was a laboratory. Yeah. go back into some of this more ancient than what we were taught. In Gnosticism, it's called a prison. The Garden of Eden wasn't setting you free. It was a prison. Eating of the apple was knowledge, was the sweet taste of knowledge. And when you ate it, they realized they were naked of their knowledge, their gnosis. That's what the nakedness represents. When they told us it was something else that we see, and somehow it was saved by these Gnostics who had the sense enough and led by the Spirit to bury it. And then it's found 1700 years later in Egypt. Not surprised where it was found at. Yeah. And a group of that same group wanting to purchase those books from the guys who found it. And those guys didn't. They went and published them. And I've said many times, shout out to them for publishing it. They thought they killed it. And now historically, you can find out that this wasn't just something that was like, oh, there's a group over there called that. This in the 1st and 2nd century there was a bunch of it that ran head and head with this indoctrinated, just keep it into a priesthood of control and power. It ran head and head until we got to the 3rd century, where now we're creating Christianity into the religion of Rome. I'm just being honest, in this Roman Catholic Church. And then that's when they said to them, and they buried books. Good for them. Bad for, but it also reveals what I just said about our water's poison, our food's poison, our air's poison, and they love me. If that's love, who needs enemies? I'm telling you. When it says on the Constitution, foreign or domestic, it's always been the foreign. Excuse me. Wrong, Danny. Correction, D-boy. It was always domestic was our problem. Just being honest. Truth. We here at West Coast Uncensored, what do? We uncensored the censor. You guys have a great day. But before I get off, let me do this real quick. I should have did this from the beginning, because I really should have did this from the beginning. I'm putting in what this video is going to be called. And one thing when it talks about the psychics, not necessarily talking about the psychics what we think it is. This is talking about people who are just attached to their psychic. They're more mind and not soul and spirit. Even though there's an awakening to them, they're believing and they're seeing spiritual things. They're just not accessing gnosis yet, which makes sense because I see that all the time with people I know. They're not fully accessing yet. They're not getting, and I always want to get with the word because I can hear it and feel it within them. And they're people I really love and trust. And then, I'm thinking about it, and I mentioned activation. I think I spelled this wrong. It's hylic. Going a little longer today. If I have to change it, I will. I'll leave it at that. But you guys have a great day.